Undead Unluck. This is Undead Unluck chapter 113, Forget. Last we left off, Nico has betrayed the Union and has just carved up Andy into little chicken nugget sized pizzas with his weird laser thing.
Soy cubes.
Yeah.
Tofu cubes.
Yeah. Tofu cubes. So Andy goes up to deal with him, but you know, all the lasers are still like blasting it over and cutting him up a little bit. Nico talks about how he made a deal with Ghost, and he says that if I help ruin and hand over your soul in exchange, I'll receive my wife's soul. And basically, this battle has become whoever wins this fight gets to reclaim their lost lover. And Andy tries to convince him, like, hey, even if you do get your wife's soul, doesn't mean that she's coming back. And Ghost isn't bound to honor the deal. And Nico's like, he will honor it. Those guys are faithful to the rules. They're more trustworthy than people will ever be. And I'm like, that kind of tracks, I guess, because Ghost is a literal rule, and for rules to not follow the rules feels a little weird. So I guess that's a good reason to trust him.
Yeah.
So
I mean, what if I negate a rule negator? So I don't know about that. He's the king of negators, actually. He negates everything.
No, well, Ruin is, yeah. He could be lying, but Ghost. He made a deal with Ghost, who is a rule.
He's a rule. He's a shisty rule.
No, we have no reason to believe that.
Shisty rules that exist. You know, it used to be a shisty rule.
Who?
That had to, huh?
Who?
You said who? Yeah. No, a shisty rule.
Who was the shisty rule? Say
that was a shisty rule.
Say that again. Segregation. You cut out. I say that again. Segregation.
Yeah, that was a very shisty rule.
It was a very shisty rule.
Rules definitely be
shisty.
Negative.
Sure. No, it's not that it's negative. It's that like the idea of rules, I guess, breaking their word. Like in the concept of this, if you made a rule with if you made a deal with the rule of segregation, if the rule of segregation made a rule on itself, like a deal, which is a rule, would it break that rule itself being a rule?
I guess not. I don't.
No,
Chris, this is a lot.
You
left me something to think about.
Well, that's what we do in this podcast. We debate these absurd ideas by Undead Unluck that you can make deals with the concepts of ghosts, with the very concept, the idea of ghost. So there you go.
Undead Unluck.
Yeah. Anyway, so Andy just yells, "Is like you're supposed to be part of our team," and fuck, man, Nico just goes out and fucks him up a little bit. He does like Shen's technique, and it turns out he seems to be having these like little physical embodiments coming out of these orbs that he has of Gina and the Unvoid. I think it was the negator that two negators that Andy himself murdered. By the way,
yeah, sure was.
Yeah, two Union members that Andy negated, and they're astral dolls apparently that Nico created, and they seem to retain the abilities that their original bodies had as well, and they start fucking Andy up as well. It's not doing great, and he's like, "Do you remember? These are the two you killed. Just now, you simply recalled their memory. Do you remember the temperature and humidity on the day you killed Void? How Void dropped to the ground, the way his blood smelled? It's like, sheesh. The number of scars he had. I remember. And then we get this big fucking panel where he's like, I remember everything. Everything. Constantly and always. He says the pain that of the comrades that he's lost, the sadness, all the information, he remembers it all. And yeah, pretty crazy. He's like,
that's why his eyes look like that. He can't sleep.
Yeah.
And Devin thought he had it rough.
Ooh.
Oh, you guys hear this story.
Oh, man. So he goes like, why are you doing this? Why are you making yourself suffer? Your lab members are dead and you let ruin infiltrate the joint. The bodies are going to keep piling up. Why are you doing this? And he's like, this would have happened sooner or later. And he talks about how his ability manifested right before his wife's death. And from that point on, he has not been able to forget anything, no matter what they are. And he said, do you know what that means? It means my mind is being crushed by a never-ending stack of information. The only memory that he has of her before the manifestation that remains intact is the face of his wife on her deathbed. And it's the only thing he can like remember of his wife is her dead face. And he said, and that's what kind of like drove him insane. And it turns out we finally get the revelation that Nico's negation is unforgettable.
Which kind of shows how he was able to use Shen's ability, because he just remembered it.
Yeah, he just remembered
the physical form, apparently.
Yeah. All he had to do was kind of remember the punches, how he did it. If he sees it, he can remember it in theory. So yeah, we get that.
Wow, this makes a lot of sense. It would also lead to him being able to be a great scientist or really great anything, I guess, right?
Yeah, because he retains all the information he ever absorbs. So that's where the chapter ends. He gets a 2-page spread. We see Shikara and Huis as astral dolls as well. So he has both of their negations on his side as well, it seems.
Yo.
And that's unmovable and injustice. So, yikes. And that's where the chapter ends.
Guys, he's the strongest person so far.
Yeah.
What's the catch?
Okay.
I mean, what?
So, Josh, what are your thoughts?
Everywhere with him?
Huh?
Maybe the orbs can't follow him everywhere. Maybe they can only stay with him in the lab, or he can only bring a handful of them and it's not as potent when he's outside.
They seem to go with him wherever he goes. Like, whenever he has them with him. If he goes somewhere, he's like floating on one, always.
I think he just has the beam ones. These are special ones.
Who knows?
Who knows? I'm trying to throw him a bone here.
Well, they keep him in the lab for other things, but yeah, Josh, what are your thoughts on Undead Unluck? Oh, this is also my RGC, so I'll do it for both of us.
Certified RGC. Certified RGC. Certified RGC.
Okay, so I thought it was I thought the delivery of his quirk was so well executed, the way they ended the chapter on it, and like with the end of his story. I've said this many times that this author is so incredibly talented at like making certain characters really endearing in a short amount of time. And it's because they're all linked to tragedy. But somehow through, I think like more than 8 characters at this point that he's done this same kind of tragedy trope with. And in each case, it's been really unique and touching. He's literally saying that, the only thing I remember my wife is her dying, because I can't really remember the things I want to remember anyway. But when I developed my negation ability, I was able to remember that the most effectively. So that was his whole drive for joining Union, probably. He was like, bet, let's do whatever we got to do to slay God and recreate the world, and I'm going to get my wife back. Yes. And then Ghost pulled up and was like, look, fuck all that noise. Y'all losing. You can have your wife if you do this, and that for me. And he said, no problem.
Dude, no problem.
I'm not mad at him. He straight up told me, he's like, Andy, you trying to do the same exact thing with Fuko, my nigga.
Mm-hmm.
I just actually seen her soul. You might think You might make it to the arc. You still gotta deal with those two assholes. You struggling against me? Come on. I mean, it makes sense if he wins, if he beats. I mean, if he can stop Andy, then Andy wasn't gonna make it past those two anyway. So he made the right deal. This guy through and through is not. He is not evil in any sense. You can't convince me otherwise.
Yeah.
Did he wild out on his peoples? Yeah, but he saved his daughter. Saved his daughter. Well, he didn't execute his daughter. He let her live.
Yeah, he spared his daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, were those all your thoughts, or you have any more?
Nah, I mean, that's it. Like, I'm really impressed with his ability and how the orbs work out. I mean, I was saying before I had theories about how effective they may or may not be depending on the situation, but I mean, if this is him all day 24/7, he should have been pulling up to a lot more situations to help. Remember when Shen fought against the Karate Man?
Yeah.
What was his thing?
Damn.
He was just really strong.
Feng is his name. Yeah, he was just very strong.
Man, gangster. that was his ability. Yeah, it would have been real nice to have his support.
Yeah.
I don't know what he was working on. Maybe he told Juice to fuck off. He has his own thing to do. Who knows?
Yeah.
But he's a real one. He delivered. The author delivered on. And that's why I got the RGC.
All right. I can vibe with that. I'll get into my thoughts, I suppose. Yeah, this was also my RGC. I'll do it for myself.
Certified RGC. Certified RGC. Certified RGC.
Yeah, Nico was one of those characters that I've been waiting to find out his backstory for a long time, because he's always been like the interesting crazy guy that's on top of the orbs and just floated around, crazy mad scientist guy. Never did I think that he was going to be this dark and sad. It's pretty depressing, and I love the reveal of his negation. Unforgettable. It's pretty cool. I agree. He's just a tragic kind of character overall. I don't think he's doing this to say fuck the Union or whatever. He's just in a tough place right now.
Yeah.
The world's about to end. Basically, Union lost for the most part. So yeah, it's not looking good. So I don't super blame him for jumping ship. But I just noticed this too. Like, his head is hooked up to the astral dolls. So I think if you look at the 2-page spread where he summons Gina and Void, you see the little like strings pointing to them, to the orbs. So I think as long as he stays connected to them in that way, because his memories are feeding these astral dolls, then maybe that's the secret.
Wow, that was really that was sharp. I did not notice that, man.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of hard to catch if you don't look at it in the 2-page spread. Although I guess you could still see it. But it almost looks like it's a part of like the robot's design. Like it has like a line.
Yeah. But it's like linked to his like forehead things. He's got these jacks in his head. But that being said, yeah, I really like this. I thought that was really cool. This is just like an interesting twist for Undead Unluck, and for a series that's had so many twists and turns at the end of each arc in sometimes a very whiplash way. This is probably my favorite. Just because it's just so sad and tragic, and it feels like kind of a natural thing to be happening right now. I'm enjoying Nico's ability. I'm glad he's living up to the hype that I had for him when I've been reading, for as long as I've been reading Undead Unluck. And I wonder what's going to happen. I think like Andy's going to have to just kill him and then try to recruit him again in the next cycle. But I'm excited for it. I don't have much other thoughts. This is my favorite chapter. It's been a while since Undead Unluck 1 for RGC in my eyes, but